All right, everybody, welcome to another deep dive. And today we're tackling something really powerful.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech.
Right.
You know, the one from the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom back in August of 63.
Oh.
And to make things even more interesting, the person I'm deep diving with today is my actual partner.
That's right.
We share a home
Yeah.
and a love of dissecting fascinating topics.
We do sometimes, I think, a little too much.
Oh, come on, who's overanalyzing now?
Only sometimes.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But you know what's wild? Even though it's been almost 60 years since that March on Washington,
Wow. Yep.
King's words still feel so relevant.
Yeah, it's incredible how they just resonate across generations.
Totally. It's the mark of like a truly masterful speech, you know?
Yeah.
It transcends time and speaks to this like universal longing for freedom and equality.
Absolutely.
So let's jump right into this speech.
Yeah.
King steps up to the podium on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial
Yeah.
in front of 250,000 people.
Huge.
And he opens by invoking like the historical weight of the day,
Mm-hmm.
the 100th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation.
Really sets the stage.
Talk about setting the stage right.
Right.
So he uses this anniversary to highlight this unfulfilled promise of freedom for Black Americans.
Yeah, he reminds everyone that even a century after Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, Black people were still fighting for basic rights and dignity.
Yeah,
It's a powerful point.
it is. And he goes on to compare it to like a bounced check,
Oh.
saying America has given the Negro people a check which has come back marked insufficient funds.
It's such a powerful image.
Why do you think that that metaphor is so effective?
Well, everyone understands the frustration of a bounce check, right?
Oh, for sure.
He takes this everyday experience
Yeah.
and uses it to represent this like systemic denial of rights and opportunities. I mean, it connects with the audience on such a visceral level.
For sure. And then he goes on to ground this argument in the founding documents of America,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
weaving together references to the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence.
He's like, listen, this isn't just my dream.
Hmm?
This is the American dream.
It's what we were promised.
Exactly. And he's appealing to their sense of patriotism.
Yes.
And reminding them that true equality is like woven into the fabric of the nation.
Totally.
It's clever. It's a really clever way to challenge the status quo without completely alienating his audience.
And what I also love is that even when he's talking about facing violence and oppression,
Right.
he still emphasizes the importance of dignity and discipline.
Mm-hmm.
He urges his followers to meet physical force with soul force.
Such a powerful call for nonviolent resistance.
It is, and ultimately a strategy that was so incredibly effective.
Absolutely. And that commitment to nonviolence,
Yeah.
that's really key to understanding King's whole philosophy.
Right.
I mean, he truly believed that real change could only come through love and understanding, not through hatred and violence.
He makes that very clear. But it's interesting because he also acknowledges the frustration and the anger that was felt by so many in the Black community at that time.
Oh, absolutely.
He says, we cannot be satisfied as long as the Negro's basic mobility is from a smaller ghetto to a larger one.
Wow.
That line just hits hard,
It does.
especially considering, you know, all the ongoing struggles for economic justice today.
Yeah, but what's striking is how he balances this righteous anger
Yeah.
with a message of hope.
Mm-hmm.
He lays out this vision for a future where Black people are fully integrated into American society with equal opportunities
Equal rights.
and equal rights.
Okay, before we get to the dream part, can we please talk about you and the recycling this morning?
Here we go.
Seriously. I mean, you were like meticulously sorting through those yogurt containers.
What?
Like you were diffusing a bomb.
Okay, maybe a little overdramatic.
Is there some secret code to recycling that I don't know about?
There's a system, yes, and it prevents perfectly recyclable materials from ending up in landfills.
Okay, you were muttering about microplastics and the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
Well,
It was a bit intense for 7 a.m.
maybe if you paid more attention to our environmental impact, you'd understand the urgency.
Okay, so I oversimplified a bit,
You think?
but can you maybe just dial down the judgmental stares when I reach for a plastic straw?
Oh, come on.
I'm trying my best.
Trying your best.
Yeah.
You called tossing recyclable items in the trash trying your best.
It's not like I'm doing it on purpose.
Your idea of trying is laughable.
Okay, so now I'm the villain.
I'm tired of feeling like I'm the only one who cares about our planet.
And I'm tired of feeling constantly criticized and judged by you.
This isn't just about recycling, is it?
No, it's about how I refuse to take anything seriously, right?
It's about a pattern.
That's what you always say.
It is a pattern.
You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I don't take this marriage seriously enough.
Wow.
You know what?
That's low.
I think we both know where this is going.
Yeah, I think we do.
Divorce next week.
Fine, next week it is.
I'll call a lawyer. So back to Dr. King and his dream.
Oh, God. It's strange, isn't it?
Right.
Here we are, dissecting this incredible speech about unity and hope. And we can't even seem to manage basic civility with each other.
The irony is not lost on me.
Right.
It's like a cosmic joke or a really harsh lesson in practicing what you preach.
Maybe King knew something about this,
What do you mean?
Maybe he understood that the fight for equality, for justice, it starts with the individual.
Okay.
With looking inward and confronting your own shortcomings.
So you're saying we're just hypocrites?
Right.
Talking about King's message of love and understanding while simultaneously planning our divorce.
I don't know about hypocrites.
Okay.
But we're definitely examples of, the complexities of this journey. I mean, King wasn't naive.
Right.
He knew that progress isn't linear.
Mm-hmm.
There would be setbacks and struggles along the way.
Yeah, and he faced those setbacks head on. He was arrested, beaten, his home was bombed, yet he never gave up on his dream.
And that's what's so inspiring about his message.
Okay.
He calls us to rise above our own limitations, to keep striving for something better. Even when it's hard, even when we stumble.
Okay, I'm trying to follow you here.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard to connect the dots when my head is spinning from this whole divorce thing.
Right.
Are we really doing this? Throwing away years of marriage over a yogurt container?
It's not about the yogurt container.
What is it about then?
It's about a pattern of behavior.
Okay.
About feeling unheard and unappreciated.
Right.
And maybe, just maybe, this drastic step is what we both need to finally, wake up and face those deeper issues.
You know what I'm struggling with?
Yeah.
The disconnect between the grandeur of King's dream and the messiness of our own lives.
Okay.
He's talking about transforming society, about ending segregation and discrimination.
All right.
And we're over here imploding over recycling habits.
Isn't that the point?
What do you mean?
King's dream wasn't just some abstract ideal.
Right.
It was about real people, real lives, real struggles. And those struggles exist on both a societal level and a personal level.
So you're saying that our little domestic drama is somehow connected to the larger fight for justice and equality.
Absolutely. Think about it.
Yeah.
King talks about the need for understanding, for compassion, for bridging divides.
Yeah.
I mean, those are qualities that we desperately need in our own relationships, in our own communities, in our own nation.
I'm starting to see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
But it still feels like a huge leap.
Okay.
How can our personal struggles, as valid as they may be, compared to the systemic oppression that King was fighting against?
It's not about comparing struggles.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that they're all part of the same human experience.
Right.
King understood that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
You're really good at this.
Yeah.
Connecting the dots, finding the deeper meaning.
Oh.
It's one of the things I used to admire about you.
And I used to admire your passion.
Yeah.
Your sense of humor.
Yeah, we've both lost sight of those things lately, haven't we?
Yeah, I think we have.
So where do we go from here?
What do you mean?
Besides divorce court next week, is there a way to salvage this?
I don't know.
To reconnect with that shared sense of purpose we used to have?
Maybe, but it's going to take work. Real, honest, difficult work.
Okay.
We need to listen to each other.
Yeah.
Truly listen and try to understand where the other's coming from.
And maybe, just maybe, we can find a way to apply King's principles of nonviolence and reconciliation to our own relationship. Not to sweep our problems under the rug, but to address them with compassion and understanding.
It's worth a shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
After all, King believed that even the most seemingly insurmountable challenges could be overcome with love and perseverance.
All right, I'm willing to try. But before we dive headfirst into couples therapy, let's get back to the speech itself.
Okay. Yeah.
We were just about to get to the I Have a Dream section.
No? Right.
And I don't want to shortchange that it's one of the most powerful and moving passages in American oratory.
Agreed. It's where King's vision for a better future truly comes alive.
So let's dive in.
Okay.
King shifts from the righteous anger of the previous section to this tone of soaring hope. He paints this vivid picture of a future where black and white children will walk hand in hand,
Yeah.
where the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood.
Wow.
What do you think is the key to the power of this imagery?
It's the concreteness of his vision, you
Okay.
know? He doesn't just talk about abstract concepts like equality and freedom. He grounds them in everyday experiences
Yeah.
and human relationships. He helps us see and feel what that better future could look like.
And he doesn't shy away from naming specific places that were at the heart of the civil rights struggle.
No, he doesn't.
He talks about Mississippi,
Yeah.
a state sweltering with the heat of injustice and oppression, transforming into an oasis of freedom and justice.
Powerful.
It is, and this specificity is crucial.
Totally.
It shows that King's dream wasn't some utopian fantasy.
Right.
It was rooted in the realities of the time,
Mhm.
in the places where the fight for equality was most intense.
Absolutely. And he repeatedly uses this "let freedom ring" refrain,
Yes, he does.
starting with specific locations, mountaintops, hilltops, and then expanding it outward to encompass the entire nation.
It's like he's building this crescendo,
Yeah.
this sense of unstoppable momentum.
Exactly. And it all culminates in that final triumphant declaration.
Free at last. Free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
It's impossible not to get swept up in that emotion, that sense of hope and possibility.
I know, but I'm also struck by the fact that King doesn't sugarcoat the challenges ahead.
Right.
He acknowledges that there will be trials and tribulations.
He's not promising an easy path to freedom,
Right.
but he's urging us to have faith to keep moving forward, even when the way ahead is unclear.
Which, brings us back to our own situation.
Yeah.
We're facing a pretty significant trial ourselves,
Right.
and the way ahead is definitely murky.
But maybe, just maybe, there's something to be learned from King's message of perseverance and hope.
Maybe even in the midst of this personal upheaval,
Yeah.
we can find a way to let freedom ring in our own lives.
To break free from the patterns and behaviors that are holding us back.
And who knows, maybe that individual journey towards freedom can ultimately contribute to a larger collective awakening.
It's a beautiful thought, isn't it?
It is.
That even our smallest acts of courage, our willingness to confront our own demons, can ripple outward and create positive change in the world.
I'm feeling a little less hopeless about this whole thing now.
Good. I'm glad.
But I think we need to take a break, clear our heads, and then come back to this conversation.
Yeah.
Because there's still so much to unpack,
Right.
both in terms of King's speech and our own lives.
I agree. A little breathing room might do us both good. Okay, so we're back, and I feel like that break helped a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's amazing how stepping away from something can just give you a whole new perspective.
Totally. It's like gaining altitude.
Yeah.
You can see the whole landscape more clearly.
Yeah.
Including the path you've been traveling.
And the path we've been traveling both in this episode and in our own relationship has been pretty rocky.
Yeah, no arguments there, but I think we're starting to find our way back to some common ground.
I hope so, because King's speech, I Have a Dream, it's all about finding that common ground.
Yeah. Absolutely.
About bridging divides and building a more just and equitable society.
And it's a reminder that this work, this struggle for a better world, it never really ends.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing process. It requires constant vigilance and effort.
And sometimes it requires us to look inward and confront our own, biases, our own shortcomings, just like we've been trying to do in this episode.
It's not easy, but it's necessary.
Right.
Because how can we expect to change the world if we're not willing to change ourselves?
So true. Okay, so let's talk about legacy. It's been over 60 years since King delivered this speech.
Wow.
What do you think is its most enduring legacy?
I think it's the power of hope. Even in the face of immense challenges, King never lost sight of the possibility of a better future. And that hope, the unwavering belief in the human capacity for good, is what continues to inspire us today.
But it's interesting, though, because King's dream wasn't fully realized.
Yeah.
Yeah. We still grapple with a lot of the same issues he spoke about.
That's true.
Racial injustice, economic inequality, political polarization.
But I don't think his speech was meant to be like a blueprint for a perfect society.
Right.
It was a call to action, an invitation to join the ongoing struggle for justice and equality.
And that struggle takes many forms, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's about advocating for policy changes, challenging systemic racism, and also about examining our own hearts and minds.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that we all have a role to play in creating a more just and equitable world.
Okay, I want to circle back to something you said earlier about the power of hope. Because Honestly, after the week we've had, I'm feeling a bit short on hope.
Yeah.
I mean, divorce, it's not exactly the happy ending I was hoping for.
You know, it's been rough, but maybe, just maybe this is an opportunity for a new kind of hope.
What do you mean?
A hope rooted in personal growth and transformation.
So you're saying that even though our marriage is ending,
Yeah,
we can still find hope in our individual journeys.
exactly. And maybe, just maybe, those individual journeys will eventually lead us to a place of greater understanding, compassion,
Hmm.
and even love. Not necessarily romantic love, but a love for humanity, a love for the possibility of a better world.
I'm starting to feel a glimmer of hope returning.
Good.
And maybe that's the biggest takeaway from this whole experience,
What's that?
that even in the midst of heartbreak and disappointment, we can still choose to believe in a better future.
And that choice, that act of choosing hope, it's what keeps us moving forward. It's what allows us to keep fighting for a world where everyone has the opportunity to live a life of dignity and freedom.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
It's been a roller coaster of emotions, to say the least.
No kidding, but it's also been incredibly thought-provoking,
Mhm.
and I hope our listeners have found it valuable as well.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. And remember, even though the journey towards justice and equality is long and often difficult, we can find strength and inspiration in the words of Dr. King, who reminded us that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice.
Let freedom ring.